This is The Heat Source, the podcast where we learn everything we can about hot sauce, one bottle at a time. We're your hosts, Mike and Matt, and today we're trying Galactic Hobo's Lord of the Wings and Nine Circles of Hell's Evil Deeds. Let's heat up. Welcome back to The Heat Source, where we learn about new sauces weekly, one bottle at a time. Today, we are trying a couple brands. One we recently just started to try, Nine Circles of Hell, is a brand we just tried their first mildest entry a few weeks ago. But then also Galactic Hobo, a sauce that we've tried everything in their collection. We've done their 3 original sauces and one of their limited runs, and they've come back with Lord of the Wings, a bacon buffalo sauce that I don't know how you can't be excited about that.
I know. I think Galactic Hobos, they got to be one of the OGs, right? Probably first 10 episodes.
First 10 episodes, yeah. We found them pretty early. They had their Gringo, the Bandito taco sauce. They had the OG sauce, which was like a red wine vinegar based sauce. And they had their Hobo Kai, their teriyaki sauce. We tried their limited, their Hawaiian shirt sauce that was like a pineapple. Oh, it was like, what was it? It was a pineapple based sauce. It was really good for like El Pastor. But this one, yeah, bacon buffalo sauce.
Yeah. I remember. I forgot about that one.
Well,
that was really good.
And he did reach out. Aaron Dallaire is the owner of Galactic Hobo. He did reach out and say that he did take a bit of a hiatus, had some other things going on. So he was gearing back up. And these are called his daydream. I believe it's called daydream sauces. Yeah. Which are, it's a limited run sauce. And this is only the second one that he's had. So
it's unacceptable. Who does hiatuses?
I know. We've not done any hiatus. We've been kind of in and out on episodes. I've been traveling to a few shows over the last 2 months, so I've been out there, but haven't been able to record. And I thought about trying to record an episode at the show in Tennessee. Just came back from Tennessee 2 weeks ago, but things were great, but they did not go as planned for me because I brought my guard buddies, and I was already losing my voice at the end of Saturday, and then we went out drinking, and then I had no voice Sunday, so I'm like, I can't even record anything. So yeah. It was the first time I've ever been to only one of 2 days of a show. If it's a 2-day show, I'm typically there both days. So it was a little disappointing for me there, but I got to see a lot of people, meet some new brands on Saturday. I brought one their full lineup, but I brought one quartet of sauces from a brand I'm pretty excited to do on the podcast. But we have also some sauces. Pex Peppers and Long Island Pepper Company have sent us sauces that we will want to try. There's some good brands in there, or good sauces in there that I've seen. So yeah, the Tennessee Hot Sauce Show, though, it was really cool. I got to actually talk. It was offline, but still great, with Steve Seabury for like 5 minutes talking about that and Hot Sauce Havoc, the show that they had season 1 of on YouTube, and they're doing a second season. And that was, they had it. I don't know how much they told you about that, but what they do is they have these chopped style competitions where these hot sauce makers have basket ingredients they have to use in a hot sauce. They do that on Friday. Saturday at the show, they have people tasting it and voting of which one they like. It's not so much which one's just generally best. They were like, okay, which one is best suited for this theme? Because it's like a theme that you have to hit for the different shows. Mm-hmm. And so I got to try it this year. It was at the Illinois show we went to last time. They just didn't have it. We just didn't see it. They had a table there. It just was still kind of on the hush-hush, so it wasn't as promoted. This year, he was like, hey, Hot Sauce Havoc, our show, like, we're doing a tasting. He mentioned it a few times.
They were there when we were there?
They were there when we were there. That was the first year. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know where.
I don't recall that at all.
Well, and here's the thing, too, though. That was on Saturday. On Saturday, we only went through the first half of booths. So it might have been at a second half booth, and we didn't see it. So the other thing that happened there, I did my first Seabury event competition. I did the Donuts of Death, and I won. Barely.
Undefeated.
by a hair, and it was delicious. The heat started to kick in later, but it wasn't bad. It was also, they say the first event's the easiest one, so that's why I did it. And also my buddies. You bring buddies with you, and it's not like, oh, this is like, they really liked it. They've never been to a hot sauce show before. They were surprised that people knew me. They're like, you're popular here. I'm like, well, in hot sauce circles, like I kind of am, but I've also been talking to these brands. It's not like no one came up to me and said, oh my God, you're him. It's like, no. I did have one guy.
I picture Will Ferrell on Anchorman right now when he's like, "People know me."
Yeah. Well, I did have one guy, and I wish I got his name. I have his Instagram handle. Let me pull it up here. But I had one guy that he did the competition after me. He did the taco challenge, and I was talking to him, and I'm like, I'm used to reviewing sauce on the podcast. I'm not used to doing these challenges. And he's like, oh, what's the podcast? I'm like, oh, it's the Heat Source. And he was just like, oh yeah, I follow you guys. That's awesome. And then later on that day when he left, he's like, hey, can I get a photo? And I was like, that's weird. Like, cool. Like, that's cool. But it was also weird where I'm like, yeah, like you can.
I was talking to Courtney about the Illinois show a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
She was telling someone about it, and she's like, I just thought it was like a hobby, which it is. She's like,
Yes.
I never really thought much of it. And then he goes, we showed up to the Illinois show, and a couple people came up to us, and they're like, oh my gosh, you're Mike and Matt, you know? And Courtney was like,
Yeah.
who is that? I'm like, I don't know. No
Yeah.
idea who that is.
And I mean, we had Bobby and Araya talking to us and doing a little clip with us. And they're like, oh, like Araya's like, oh, I listen to you on my drive into work. And now they're with their, Grumpy Spice, brand, they're taking off. And it's like, they came up to us in Illinois and that was fun. But, oh no, it's, the Hot Sauce Addict on Instagram. Really nice guy. I think it was him and his dad that were there that we were talking to. And, but he was great. I did do a second challenge because I needed lunch. So there was a pulled pork challenge. I did not win that one. So not undefeated in that, but it also was probably for the best because if I did, I got free lunch. If I were to win that one, there would have been a thing in my head to go like, you can do a third, like you've won 2 already. Like there would have been that inkling. And so I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I don't know, my gut was fine. It was funny. My gut was fine from all the stuff I had. I had probably more fresh peppers that day than I've ever had, especially above a habanero. I believe they said that there was fresh Reaper chopped up in the pulled pork sandwich, which I could believe. It had a pretty good heat to it, but the drinking that night was the thing that upset my stomach. It's like, I can handle Reaper pulled pork, but I was like, you have a bunch of beers in my system, and then I'm like, oh, my gut's all thrown off. We did have Miletta's did cause one of my buddies to go to the hotel early and go lay down because they did the times 2, and he was just like, I gotta go, and I'm like, that's fine, that's totally fine. But we also had I don't know if we've never had it on the show, but DEFCON sauces, they're very much a buffalo wing sauce brand. Like they've got just an array of heat levels of buffalo. They do have a horseradish that's really good.
Didn't we do one on the show?
I don't think we did DEFCON, but I had them try that, and then I went to Hell's Kitchen's booth and it was like, hey, I had to have them try the original buffalo that's got like 6 awards, and he's like, my buffalo's won awards. So then I had him do King of the Wing from Hell's Kitchen, but it was a good time. I was really happy with myself that I was able to at least do the 2 challenges, but I didn't do a good job marketing. Once I won, I was supposed to turn and like point to my shirt. Didn't do that. So it just, my front just said, what's your favorite hot sauce? And it's like, well, it's just anybody. So, now before we get into trying these sauces, and we're going to get into these sauces soon, the last episode, we did a little twist on our normal game. Normally I say a name and Mike has to guess who that is. If it's an NBA player or a sauce maker. I'm a huge NBA fan. I'm teaching Mike the NBA world, and obviously we're learning about sauce makers. But last time I did a NBA hot sauce comparison, we did Wilt Chamberlain with Frank's Red Hot. This one is actually a collaboration. Derek from Miletta's actually helped me brainstorm this at the show, at the Tennessee Hot Sauce Show. So I'm going to give you the NBA. This is a dual 2 players. And then you're going to have to try to guess what you think this is.
Okay.
And these are 2 players that I'm fairly confident that you are familiar with. Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. The most, probably well-known rivalry, in the 80s, coming from college, Michigan State, Indiana State. They were a rivalry in college. They came into the NBA really in a time when the NBA was not really, there wasn't a lot of momentum. The 70s wasn't like iconic. Like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar obviously was a guy that was very popular, but there wasn't any real buzz in the NBA. And then these 2 guys came in, and immediately there's a rivalry. They played against each other in the finals several times. Each one of them are champions. The fan bases are staunch. I mean, you're talking LA, Boston. You're talking, a flashy point guard, versatile to kind of classic old school Larry Bird 3-point shooting. The fan bases were very divided. It's like these are the 2. If you're a fan of one, you're not a fan of the other. Both recognized today as greats. And even though there have been a lot of other players, MJ, Shaq, LeBron, Curry, that have kind of put their own stamp on, on the league, these were kind of the first superstars of the new era of NBA after the original like NBA, ABA kind of muddied era. So who do you think is the comparisons in the hot sauce world to Magic Johnson and Larry Bird?
First of all, I know exactly who they are. I had no idea they were rivals.
Okay.
My guess, is it 1 sauce or 2?
2. This is kind of a tricky one, so it's fair if you don't know.
This is tricky. It's Truff one of them.
No.
Okay.
No. This is only the second time we're doing these NBA comps. I'm not giving Truff that airtime. They'd have to pay for airtime for being in the NBA comps. I got too many.
So the last one was Frank's. I'm gonna stay mainstream.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Tabasco versus Louisiana hot sauce.
Okay. So this one, it's a little bit of a tricky one. That's why, again, I said that I went with Ed Curry and Troy Primo. So Ed Curry and Troy Primo are. So I mean, Ed Curry, obviously, it's his Pucker Butt Pepper Company, but it's Ed Curry's on the bottle.
Yeah.
Troy Primo.
Man, I dropped that ball.
No, I mean, it's a little bit of a twist off of just like straight up hot sauce brand, and that's what we did the last one. But again, both are revered in the hot sauce and pepper growing circles by their fan bases, but there is a clear divide between the 2 fan bases. I mean, you've seen the Hulu doc. The Troy Primo people are staunchly Troy Primo. Obviously, with Hot Ones and Pucker Butt Pepper Company and the Guinness stuff with Ed Curry, there's a lot of people. If you're in the For the Love of Hot Sauce space on Facebook, a lot of people defending both sides. So there is that rivalry. And it is something where, although they're not a part of the, they weren't the original hot sauce people or original pepper growers, they're really kind of seen as like that OG first superstars of the hot sauce space.
Right.
And there's a new wave of makers and growers and all that, but that's where we got the comp. Me and Derek and I were talking about that, and I was just like, I'm like, yeah, like who would be this, who would be that, and then I don't know how it clicked, but we're just like, Troy Primo and Ed Curry are definitely Magic and Bird. You can pick which side you want which one to be. I don't have a designation of this is the one, because I don't think either of them are necessarily like super flashy. So I think I just think it's a good rivalry and an iconic one. Yeah, I've got a couple more that I'm excited about. The toughest thing is going to be some of the more recent brands. Those are the things where I'm kind of getting stuck on some things. So we're going to get into the sauce now, because this bottle,
which one are we doing?
We're going to do the Lord of the Wings bacon buffalo sauce first. I've had these split up because you're at home right now. So I've had these split up and just sitting in my fridge, and I keep looking at them and I'm like, God, I'm really excited. Oh, also on top of all the other issues of us, trying to record an episode, I also then had COVID, end of last week. So my sense of taste has been back for a couple of days. My sense of smell is like barely hanging on. So you might have to help me with the smell on this one. Although I am getting some smell through here. I'm going to list the ingredients here in a minute.
Oh
Oh
man,
yeah, I gave you the jars on this one.
smells
I
really good.
forgot. So ingredient
Smells very acidic.
ingredient list: first ingredient: white vinegar, orange juice, water, cayenne, plum tomatoes, uh, bacon, garlic, sweet onions, lemon juice, carrots, Scotch bonnet peppers, salt, and black pepper. And this one says, crafted from the depths of flavor, behold the one sauce to rule them all. Bold bacon meets a fiery buffalo kick in the tantalizing blend. Uh, 2 out of 3 flame, medium heat is what they list.
It smells amazing.
And I don't know if you can see the artwork on this. I'm going to see if it'll focus. But like, do you see the chicken with the horns? You've got like a wizard, a galactic wizard holding like looks like an infinity gauntlet. I don't know who did the artwork on this, but it is fantastic. It smells good. I feel like I get a little bit of the citrus, but yeah, you get some vinegar. I don't know if it's
the onion.
It's hard to tell if it's just like the colder weather coming in, because I also get allergies when the seasons change and the temp drops. So it's like, I think that's part of my lingering nose.
If you're having a hard time smelling this one, then you definitely still have some COVID left over.
Yeah, it's just residual COVID. It's got a nice color to it. It's got like a nice orange color. It's got a good texture to it. You see the pepper, the specks of pepper and of peppers. And so we can give this one a try. Good heat on it. Get the garlic.
Yeah, that's good. That's very peppery. You know what that go really good on?
What's that?
You slow cook some pork chops.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is obviously, with it being a buffalo sauce, I can see it going really well on wings. I just saw a recipe for a bacon ranch. So if you did bacon ranch and a bacon buffalo sauce for your wings,
yeah,
that would be good. I mean, this, even throwing this into like getting a bacon buffalo ranch by making like homemade ranch, and then this.
Man, that's really good. I love how I get a really good black pepper kick. I love how black peppery it is.
It does have a good pepperiness. It's got that carrot that I think helps with the body of the sauce, but also that's another kind of, I call it more of a gentle sweetness than your traditional like sugars. But I like the garlic. I like that orange juice citrus, I think goes really well. He does use plum tomatoes, I think, in a couple other ones. So I like that. Man, that's a good sauce.
That's really good.
And again, this is Aaron Delaire. He started in 2020. He's out on the East Coast there. Yeah, I could eat a lot of this. This is not going to last.
What pepper? You said
Scotch bonnet.
Scotch bonnets. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't know when I did those competitions at the show. I didn't know if it was just that, like, it was just one of those days. Because sometimes you'll have, I think we talked about where there's sometimes something that normally isn't hot. Suddenly one day, something kicks where then you're like, why is this making me react more than normal? I had the inverse, where I was like, this should be making me a lot more bothered. Like, I was feeling it 2 minutes after the donuts, I was like sweating, and I was like, okay, here it is. But then it was gone. And then the pulled pork was the same thing. I do like the pepperiness on this. I like the aftertaste on this one. I would do, obviously, your traditional buffalo. My parents make a buffalo chicken dip. That would be good on this one. I like your pork chop idea. Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm thinking like, you ever do ribs in the oven?
Yeah.
Just low and slow in the oven. Like cover them in that right at the end there.
Really I always feel guilty doing ribs in the oven, even though it's a legitimate way to cook them, and it you can cook them low and slow. But it's like, I feel like anybody that's ever smoked ribs just look at me like, "What do you microwave your pizza rolls too?" It's like,
it's time and a place. Hey, yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes when I'm really hungry, the air fryer has helped alleviate some of that though, because it used to be that
no
there was
one wants to get
option.
the oven going at 1 a.m. That's what they have microwave for.
Yeah, if only I could silence the little beep noises, then no one would even know that I had it. What was your fact for this one?
So this one, where do you think it went?
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Flies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know anything about Lord of the Rings. Courtney had me watch it one time. Longest 3 days of my life.
Oh, so you watched what was that one movie?
Yeah. Yeah, right.
They're very good. They are classic movies. They are iconic movies. They're very long. And like
They're
one of my best friends, huge Lord of the Rings fan. Anytime there's a Lord of the Rings thing, I send it over to him. He's like, this is great.
yeah.
I just, I've seen them. I saw them in theaters, and I don't think I've ever watched one of the movies all the way through since. Not to
Did
say
they
that they're
intermission
bad.
those movies?
What's that?
Did they run an intermission on those movies or no?
No, no. You just had
That's a
to pee in
long
the
one, man.
bottle that you brought in to drink out of. It's just, survival of the fittest. They give you
I've,
the cups of water you splash in your face halfway through the recording.
that's so
Just like,
funny.
oh, I'm so exhausted. Like, you're almost there, buddy. The people holding signs. You can do it.
I have a. I'll run this one by you later. I have a pee in a bottle story recently that I don't know if I want to throw it on the internet. I'll
It's
run it
fine.
by you, and then maybe we'll catch up on another episode if you think it's acceptable. But
I'm gonna.
I thought it was funny, creative, and necessary
Well, we've got some more
to
bright
do the
yellow
deed that I did.
sauces. There's some more bright yellow sauces in a bottle I'm looking at right now.
Okay.
You could probably get away with that. It's like, my fun fact is that
Yeah. So
I
I'll run
did
it by
this.
you. Maybe it's a story for another day. But anyways, so yeah, I went with the Lord of the Flies. Do you ever read it?
Mhm.
I think by law you have to, don't you?
Yeah, legally I was required to, but I can't tell you a lot of the details of it because it was a while ago.
Yeah. So the Lord of the Flies is I can't remember what grade. It's one of the core English novels that you need to read.
Hmm.
Um, he was denied, and I find these scenarios really fascinating, where something that's just wildly popular, woven into culture, is necessary in school curriculum.
Hmm.
Edgar Allan Poe's another one. Edgar Allan Poe died, I think, with none of his works ever published. Edgar Allan Poe doesn't know he's famous,
Well, that was also
which is wild.
Van Gogh. Van Gogh didn't know that he was famous.
Yeah. Yeah, it happens a lot. And this is another one of them. Well, this guy ended up knowing he was famous, but he went to publisher after publisher. No one wanted to touch this book, and there wasn't anything wrong with it. They're just
Hmm.
like, it's a bunch of kids acting goofy. One of them dies. Like, we're just not interested in it. The publishing company that actually ended up publishing him, publishing this book,
Yeah.
um, the company actually hid it from the literary advisor, T.S. Eliot. He's a poet, T.S. Eliot.
Yeah.
They actually hid it from him because they're like, man, we'll do this. We'll go out on a branch for you, but like we can't let Eliot know about this. Like, let's just kind of do this under the radar.
Hmm.
And it ended up in the first year, it sold like 4,600 copies,
Okay.
which, if we had 4,600 downloads, we'd lose our mind.
Yeah. Oh no, that's
But, when you're talking about a big publishing warehouse, they're like, man, that's pennies. That's nothing. That didn't even cover the cost of all these books that we printed. A couple years later, it ended up selling 65,000 copies a year. So all these publishers passed up on this opportunity to have something that's now like foundationally in curriculum and culture, and it makes me wonder. I don't you can't have an answer to this, but how many things in history got totally shot down? No one took a chance on that one item, and something that could have shaped culture or the way we do things, like, just never came to fruition. Just ended up dying, hit a roadblock, and
Yeah.
never went anywhere. That's just that. When I think of things like that, that gives me kind of gives me chills, kind of gives me hope, kind of bums me out. Like, it gives me all these different emotions of like, man, there's a lot of things out there, and 99% of them never ever happen. What are we missing out on that someone who is a nobody, really could have had an impact on the world? I just think that's really neat.
Yeah, it's just you think that there's a traditional way of kind of, becoming famous or breaking into certain spaces, and it's like, no, not so much.
Yeah, this guy just had grit, so he kept submitting it to publishers. and they interviewed his daughter in an article, and his daughter said every time he sent this manuscript off to a publisher, he had to really think about it and contemplate it because he couldn't afford
Hmm.
stamps. So every time he sent it, he's like,
Huh.
it's 8 cents. Could use
Yeah.
it
It was
somewhere
like,
else. That's 8 cents, you know. So he's making an investment simply by throwing a stamp on it.
yeah, just pinching the pennies to like, all right, well,
Yeah.
this is my submission for the week. But, huh. Well, that's an interesting fact. I was not expecting that. Um, I went the more obvious Lord of the Rings. So, um, with the fact that I don't know if this is well known, it's a fact that I had heard before. Do you know who almost was cast to play Gandalf, which is played by Sir Ian McKellen in the movies? Also, he played
Oh
Magneto
gosh.
in the X-Men movies. But do you know who actually read for the role and had to pass?
Would it have been one of the Dumbledores?
One of the Dumbledores. No, it was not one of the Dumbledores. But that's a good guess.
Um, Gosh, I feel like I know it. I just can't think of his name right now. Sean Connery.
It is in fact Sean Connery.
Is it actually?
Yep. So
Dude, that was 100% a shot in the dark. I'm just
so
thinking, who had like a deep booming voice?
so Sean Connery read for the role, but he admitted that he didn't really understand it. He read the book, he read the script, he saw the movie, he just still didn't understand it. Um, he said he was interested in doing something that he didn't understand, like he was fine with that, but not for 18 months. He said 18 months is a long commitment.
It took him 18 months to film it.
I think so. I think they filmed all three of them in like all
Oh, I
together.
think I think you're right. I think they did because they
Yeah.
released them like 1 year apart.
Yeah, which is insane. Like there's like TV shows now that aren't even released 1 year apart that they take like 18 months. So, but the thing that's crazy, so obviously it would have been a huge iconic role for him, but the thing that he really missed out on, he would have only charged a small fee to be in the movie, but they was also offered 15% of all the film's income if he were to agree to it. And
That would have been, hold on,
the movie's made $3 billion.
15% of 3 billion. So, gosh, we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yes.
What did he miss out on?
Let me get the calculator out.
I think Matt Damon had a story like that. Oh, Matt Damon. I think what's his name? James Cameron offered Matt Damon 10%
Oh, for
of
Avatar.
offered Matt Damon 10% of Avatar, and Matt Damon was like, "No, I'm good, man." And Matt Damon's like, "You'll never meet someone else who turned down like $100 million."
This was 450 million.
Holy cow!
Yeah. And the thing that's
Sean
sad.
Connery, Sean Connery was too good for. Hold on, 450 million over.
It wasn't that he was
18
too
months.
good. He's like, I don't understand this, and I don't know if I want to spend 18 months in something I don't understand. He was fine taking on something he didn't understand, just not for that
Dude, if
length of
someone
time.
came to me and was like, "Here's 10 grand, do something that you just don't know what you're doing. Just do what the paper says."
Right.
Be like,
But
"Shit, for 10 grand, I'll do it for 5. You don't
first
even
of
have to give me
all,
the other 5."
no one knew that was going to be just like this huge blockbuster, that successful. And also he was at that point, he was like, like he wasn't hurting for money.
I don't hold on. I don't care how rich you are, Matt. Can you help me out, bud? I will give you $25 million a month.
No, they're doing is, hey, I will give you this opportunity to get 15% of what we make in this thing you're going to help me with. And you're like, how successful? It's like, well, I mean, movies, some are good, some are bad. You never know.
But weren't the books wildly popular though?
Yeah,
Weren't
but
they written a long time ago and had just like a crazy cult following?
there was a lot of adaptations that would try to cash in on that did not do well.
Oh, there were.
So, yeah, like there was it John Carter was one. It was like the biggest flop of all time. It's based on books that I think the book is what inspired George Lucas to do Star Wars. Like it's like that iconic of a sci-fi book, and bombed. So
Really?
yeah, it's not a guarantee. Just ask the DC movies.
Are there
So
Was there any like regret articles? Like, did anyone interview him, be like, "So do you understand it now?"
well, so the thing that I read, the article that I read it in is that he was like, yeah, I missed out on that. So then that's the reason he signed on to do League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, the movie, and that was the movie that forced him to retire because he had such a terrible time.
So
Also, even though
I
it's not
love
a
that movie.
even though it's not a popular movie, you know, Indiana Jones Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
The reason Sean Connery isn't in that movie, there's a picture of him and they reference that that Indiana Jones's dad passed away. The reason he's
Mhm.
not a guest spot in that movie is because he was retired by League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Had that movie not retired him, he would have been in that movie.
So what didn't he like about the League? Because I love that movie, but it was kind of like a straight to DVD or almost.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. I don't dislike the movie. It's just that it was a bad experience. Like the filming was a bad experience. It was just like, I don't know. It was, I don't know if it would say disillusioned him, but it was just something where he realized that he was kind of done making movies because of just how that kind of soured him. I don't know all the details. I mean,
Probably
you're dealing with
missed out on $25 million a month for 18 months.
you're dealing with that movie's dealing with a lot of CGI, so it probably was something where he's like interacting with, tennis
He's just
balls
hanging
and
out in a room.
screen and yeah.
Hanging out in a green room. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It just was that was the last movie before he retired. So
I didn't know that. I didn't know that was his last one.
yeah, so
Well, it's kind of good he did because he would have been in the Crystal Skull, and that wouldn't have gone much better at all.
it would have made it so much better. Just having him in it would have made me happy. It's okay.
It would have made the movie. It would have made you happy, but it wouldn't have made the movie any better.
Slightly 1%, 1% better. Cameos just give you like that 1% where it's like, hey, but that one time when Sean Connery was in it, that was great. Also, did you see the new Indiana Jones? The latest
I did
one?
not.
I really like that one. The Dial of Destiny.
You do
That
like
one,
it?
I really like that one a lot.
Were you the one review on IMDb that said it was all right?
On Dial of Destiny?
Yeah.
No, I don't do reviews. I only review hot sauce. I don't review movies. No, I was like Crystal Skull wasn't good, but Dial of Destiny I thought was enjoyable. The problem now, and this is getting into a whole tangent about reviewers. The problem now is a lot of movie reviewers try to dissect everything like it's supposed to be an Oscar-nominated, amazing whatever, and you can't just enjoy a fun movie. Like the movie Hot Rod. Hot Rod with Andy Samberg, hilarious. Is it a dumb movie? Absolutely. Like, dumb movies can be enjoyed, and you don't want someone to dissect, be like, well, the plot and this and this. It's like it's a dumb fun movie. Like, but the Indiana Jones movie, it definitely felt more nostalgic. It felt like they understood Indiana Jones more. People can argue about, was the, were they happy with how they concluded it? Like, I get it. There's some quirks where they're like, oh, well, this isn't realistic. And it's like, okay, Indiana Jones isn't like he was dragged between a tank and a cliff in the third one. And like, you think he would just been fine. Like, no, he would have been ground to dust. Like, okay. So like, it's a, fantastical world anyway. But also they brought back Nazis, which is always fun. You always like seeing Nazis getting their comeuppance. So
Getting melted.
yeah, getting their faces melted by the Ark of the Covenant. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen that movie yet.
I remember my parents would they would kind of censor us, like if they'd let us watch, appropriate things. But if there was a scene, like I remember Jurassic Park, we used to watch that all the time. They'd always shut the actual TV off when Gennaro gets eaten off from the toilet.
Oh yeah.
So that's a little too violent for a kid. But other than that, we could watch the movie. When the Nazis got melted, I don't think they ever shut that off. They're like, watch him burn.
Like this is a defining moment for you.
Yeah.
So that's funny. All right. Well, that's my fact. The Sean Connery, Lord of the Rings. Let's get into the score. What's that?
I'm gonna pat myself on the back for taking a shot in the dark at Sean Connery and actually getting it. I'm
I
like,
can't
who's
believe you
got a
got
deep
that.
booming voice?
Well, because also if you think about it, it's like no one would have been like, "Oh, you've got, that accent in Lord of the Rings." That would have been a little jarring, but but oh well. Also, Galactic Hobo, their website galactichobo.com, Galactic Hobo sauce at Instagram. It's amazing buffalo sauce. Like I really like the bacon. It gives a little bit of smokiness. The Scotch bonnet heat is really nice. It doesn't linger super long. Um,
Hmm.
I do. It's vinegar forward, but buffalo sauce has that tang. The orange juice I think is a really good component of it, and I
I
like
want to
obviously.
try it warm
Yeah, I
because
think that's going to
mine just
be.
came out of the fridge. I'd really like to try it warm.
Mine's been out of the fridge for like an hour before, so it's like it's fine. But yeah, warmed up. I'd like to. We'll try in a couple dishes. Post something about it. Um, Also, I feel like the trifecta of garlic, onion, and carrot has just become like an iconic hot sauce blend in a lot of sauces that we enjoy. So
Right.
that carrot is like that secret weapon. I know Zach from High Desert Sauce Company uses carrot in the Ghost of Saffron, and that's a really
Hmm.
good like charred carrot.
I
So
just finished my bottle the other night.
I think I've got a box that Roddy sent me from the Philly hot sauce show. I have to unbox it, and I think I have another taco sauce in there. I don't know. I totally forgot. It's been like 2 months or a month and a half. So I got to unbox that and see what all I got. I know I got some hot graham because my dad and I are going to make a hot graham Reuben. Just seeing you chug a jar full of hot sauce is funny to me.
It's
But
that good.
it does make it easier consumption. But for this one, obviously 0 out of 5 on heat scale. 2 is the one I had for this. 2 is like a presence, a bit lingering heat. I'm not reacting or sweating or snotting or anything like that, but it definitely lingers a little bit. So I had it as a 2. What did you have it on the
Yeah, two as
heat?
well.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like a 2 plus.
For my score on this, I really like this sauce. I had this as an 86.
I had 84.
Yeah, it's a
It's
really
really
good
good.
buff. Also, part of it, and this is an advantage for Galactic Hobo and for Nine Circles of Hell. We haven't reviewed a sauce in a while, so it's like getting back into it. It's like this is a delicious sauce. So it's already a good sauce, and there's an excitement with trying sauce. Trying the sauce again. I can't
Hmm.
believe this quality of sauce was sitting in my fridge just unused, but it's a hefty bottle too. Like this is a good size. Which with wings you gotta have to douse it, so that makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. I need to get my thing is the ideal chicken wing to me is like you smoke it and then you flash fry it when you're ready to go, and then
Hmm.
you sauce it up. I feel like I need to get a deep fryer and a smoker if I'm going to legitimately make the proper wings for this. But we'll see. All right. Let's get into Nine Circles of Hell's Evil Deeds. Now, Evil Deeds, this is their second level of heat. So we did the White Lies, which was like their green
Ooh.
sauce. Evil Deeds, this is a medium heat that they list. This has the ingredients of distilled white vinegar, fire roasted red bell peppers, habanero peppers, red onion, fire roasted Roma tomatoes, carrots, cayenne pepper mash, garlic, coarse black pepper, and achiote. Am I saying that right? Ground annatto seed. Do you know what achiote
I've
is?
never heard of that in my life.
Okay. Um,
Um, Dude, this one, not only do they look a lot alike, they
it's a little
kind of
bit.
smell like, but this one has a really, really unique smell to it.
This one is a little bit more red. If I do side by side comparison, very slightly.
The texture
Texture
is
is
the
very
same, and then
similar.
that I think this is charred, but it's got that black flake in there.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it smells really good. What's that last ingredient you threw out there?
Achiote. We'll talk about it.
You're like, don't you worry, we'll cover that.
Don't you worry about that. Um. So yeah, this one I'm excited about. So again, this is a sauce brand from Eugene, Oregon. Stephen Bishop out of Eugene, Oregon, been making spices and hot sauce 10 plus years. We tried the White Lies not too long ago, but yeah, let's give this one here a try. I'm gonna pour this one on my
You said this
spoon.
was a medium heat.
Yeah, so this one listed as a medium heat. It is vegan, so don't have to worry. The last one was not vegan. that bacon really gets you. I saw a video. There's a Detroit chef that makes really good YouTube shorts, and he was making. Oh, he made the like a homemade ranch. He's like, here's a homemade ranch. Here's a Chipotle ranch. Here's a bacon ranch. The bacon ranch, he used turkey bacon, but his turkey bacon looked like legit bacon. So now I'm questioning what's quality turkey bacon. I know quality turkey bacon is throw it out and get real bacon, but the turkey bacon we get, it comes out in these wavy, artificial, it's jerky. It's just jerky strips.
I just go straight for bacon.
Yeah, I did a thick cut bacon the other day, and it was the best decision I ever made. But let's give this one a try. So I don't know if that one's hotter, but the heat spreads different. Like the heat kind of went to the back of the throat a little bit.
Yeah, that's really interesting. You said that because it literally sits in your mouth differently than the last one.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
It does. It takes a few seconds for it to kick in. It's really good. It's got a really deep flavor to it of something. I'm sure it's that last ingredient. I can't put my finger on it. It's got a very unique taste.
I think the fire roasted bell peppers, I think, definitely help on this one. The vinegar, even though it's the first ingredient, I don't think this one's super like acidic. Because you do have the bell peppers, you have the carrots, you have the onion, the tomatoes. I think that helps kind of give it more body to it.
It's got a sweetness to it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that would have to be the carrots. The carrots and the bell peppers.
Yeah. They're very similar, but they're very different.
This has two fire roasted ingredients, the fire roasted Roma tomatoes and the red bell peppers. So that fire roasted, I think, is giving it a nice kind of differentiation on flavor. And they're doing two peppers. You have a pepper mash, the cayenne pepper mash, and you have the habanero peppers. So
the heat's kicking in after a minute. I would say this one's hotter than the last.
Well, I think that's part of using dual peppers is or a pepper mash and peppers is you get two different styles of heat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if this one, like the hottest point of this is necessarily hotter than the Scotch bonnet one, but it's just being delivered a little bit different where you're kind of reacting in the two phase of the peppers. It's really good though.
So go good on tortilla chips. That's a chip sauce for me.
I mean, with the Roma tomatoes, the garlic, those peppers. I mean, it's obviously not a salsa, but you can dip it in chips. Like if someone poured this out and put it in a bowl, delivered to your table with chips, I'd have no problem.
Right.
I'd be like, yeah, I'll eat this down. Funny story on the way, because we drove down to Tennessee that night before, stopped at a Mexican restaurant. They brought us the bowl of chips like you always see, brought us a cup of salsa, and also brought us a cup of ranch, like this kind of like ranchy dip. And I was just like, did they give that to us because we're white and they're like, give them ranch? Or is that like just their normal? But then we looked around and we're like, well, everyone in this restaurant right now are just white people drinking margaritas. So I think it's just their clientele. They're like, before you ask for ranch here, just take it.
That's funny. I don't know if I told you this. Last time I had to take a little business trip, we went to this Mexican restaurant, and it was an all-you-could-eat chips and salsa, like serve yourself, little buffet.
Sure.
Couldn't help myself. I ended up with like 5 empty bowls of salsa and this giant mound of chips.
Yeah.
Before the server even came over and asked if I wanted water or anything like that. And she shows up and she sees it and she's like, oh, are we waiting on other people for drinks right now? I'm like, no, it's just me tonight, And she kind of looked at me. She's like, do you want a menu? Like, I'm like, dude, are you coming in here just to wreck a whole mound of chips and then leave? I'm like, no, yeah, I definitely take a menu, and I ended up getting tacos. But
I saw a video. I think it was on TikTok of somebody, and it was the most angry that I was all day seeing this video. Somebody was at Mexican restaurant, gave him the chips, gave him the bowl of salsa, and the people just poured the bowl of salsa on top of the chips. And I'm like, I don't know why you have to.
Who the heck does that?
I'm like, what do you eat? Eat a Kit Kat off the side? Just eat a big bite out of the side of a Kit Kat? Like, what's happening? Just take the stack of Lunchable meat and just eat that as one big bite. Don't even
Gosh,
stack up your
who's the
chips.
guy? Who's the guy that yells at professional baseball players like on these really minor insults?
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. I don't know his name, but yeah, where he always is just like, I bet you do this, you bum.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't he say that? He's like, you look like you eat Kit Kat sideways or something like that.
Probably. He has a whole channel where I'm like, if I saw that guy without knowing the context, it's like I'd be a little annoyed, but there were some clever ones where like those ones I would appreciate. Just think if
You look like you leave trash in your friend's car, you bum.
I think I think that he must get a lot of people to go with him that sit around him, because could you imagine being the person that's sitting right in front of him and he's like, hey, I'm a YouTuber that I have to record content, so I'm going to be shouting these really loud heckles for 30 minutes. So just
Yeah.
sorry.
And for every
Um,
one that sticks, there's got to be five just total flops. So the person
yeah,
sitting in front of him, just foggy, wet, spitty back of the head, just heard five flops in a row and then heard one that was like, okay, that was pretty good.
I think one of them was, I bet your parents never put your artwork up on the fridge. You
Yeah.
bum. Yeah, there's some great ones. So yeah, that's maybe if I can find a good one, maybe I'll put it at the clip at the end of the episode, because it's funny, and I'll have to tag what he is. But um, yeah, I don't know how we got on that tangent. I really like this sauce. So to me, there's like this obviously would be a good one on pizza. They got the Roma tomatoes in there, that fire roasted flavor. I don't think that there's a lot that this won't go good on, because it's not too strong in any one direction where you're like, oh well, this isolates it from, a specific food dish, because it's
Right.
it's got some pretty, I'd say, pretty traditional ingredients. There are some unique things in there that help give it a unique flavor, but it's really not something that's gonna, like, again, the carrots that people are using in these, it's a really good addition, but it doesn't suddenly say, well, now you can't use it in any certain dish. Like this one, I agree with you, like on tortillas, on my nachos, on my breakfast food,
Be a good burrito sauce.
good burrito sauce. Let me see. Just looking on their website here. So this is, again, nine circles of hell. Their website is the number 9 circlesofhell.com, which is a little tricky there. So no, yeah, just it's really good. It says rich, smoky, and bold flavor hot sauce, true medium. It's amazing everyday sauce. I agree. I think this is an everyday style sauce. It has really good flavor. The fire roasted nature of it really kind of enhances it. So
Yeah.
I'm excited
Oh, I
about
like
this
this
one.
one.
These are two sauces that I don't think will last long in my fridge. The Butterfly Bakery of Vermont's maple smoked onion one, that didn't last. That one was gone pretty quick. I'm kind of running not low on sauces. I still have a decent amount that are still in the fridge, but I am starting to make more room. So there's definitely gonna be some additions going in here, but they won't last long.
Yeah, I put that one, the butterfly one, I put that on I think Courtney made like a some kind of like a garlic risotto.
Okay,
I just put it on that. I think I ate it all in one sitting.
that would be good. That would be good. I was putting on a bunch of stuff. That was the first sauce. It was kind of a bummer. That was the first sauce where I'm like, oh, my taste is kind of going away. Is I got the heat, a little bit of heat of it, but the flavor that was like barely there when I was getting sick. And I'm
Mhm.
like, well, at that point, I'm like, unless it's a real burner of a sauce where I just want to feel something while I'm eating tasteless food, I'm like, there's no
Right.
reason to waste hot sauce on no taste buds. So, but it was very bizarre for like a solid like 3 days of like just definitely no taste. And then I was like, how is this going to work for the future of the heat source? I'm like, I'm going to have Mike describe things to me. And it's going to get like real weird. We're going to be like, tell me about the mouthfeel. Tell me about the taste. Like, tell me about
What's
what's the
it
aftertaste.
feel like on your tongue?
Yeah. Um, well, let's get into the fun facts. My fun fact, I feel like you already know, just because I was kind of hinted
I
at it.
forgot about that last ingredient, whatever it was called.
So it's called achiote. It says achiote on there. I'm probably mispronouncing that, but it also says in parentheses ground annatto seed. So it's really actually interesting, because I'm like, oh, it must be some unique just spice, but it's actually, so it's a bright red seed of a fruit produced by, I'm going to butcher this name, Bixa Oriana a shrub native to Central and South America. For many years, the Mayan people actually made lipstick from the ground achiote seeds mixed with water. And for this reason, that shrub is sometimes referred to as the lipstick tree. But when used in small quantities, the color, when used in small quantities, it actually colors the food. So it's actually used as like a natural coloring agent. It doesn't have a whole lot of flavor in small amounts. However, if you use it as a spice in larger amounts, it offers a peppery aroma with an earthy, almost smoky flavor.
Oh,
and I'll have to include, did you look up the photo of them?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it looks kind of crazy because it's like this spiky plant, and then inside are these seeds. They look like bacon bits. The seeds look like bacon bits.
Well, that's El Yucateco. They do achiote hot sauce.
There you go. Might have to try that one out.
Dang. Dude, there's so many things out there that I've never heard explored.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's one of those where that's where, like, and obviously my kids, they're restrictive on what they're going to taste because, they're kids. They don't want to try anything new. They just want different shaped pasta and buttered noodles. But like, as you get older, the people that are adults that are like, I don't want to try anything different. Just give me, go to a Chinese place. And instead of trying something new, they're like, I'll just do the sweet and sour chicken instead of, missing out on delicious dishes that might be out there.
Like Kung Pao.
Apparently, I've never heard of it before, but
we got to throw it up on the Instagram. Do a poll. Do 2 polls.
Okay.
Have you heard of Kung Pao chicken? Yes or no? And then if you have, you're allowed to vote on the second one, which is Kung Pao chicken the best or no?
The best, like, Chinese food?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what if we had the poll that was like, have you tried Kung Pao chicken? Yes, it's the best Chinese food. Yes, it's fine. And then no.
We do that too.
Because I mean, we're going to get 3 votes anyway. And 2 of them are going to be us. So, it'll be fine. I'll tell my parents. I won't tell my parents to vote because I already told you that my she's heard of Kung Pao chicken. She didn't know what was in it. And they get Chinese food all the time. They just get different things.
It's a shame.
I mean, it was good. I enjoyed it. Do I think it's the best thing? Like that's the thing I'm going to order from now on? I don't think so, but I don't think it was bad.
Well, name a better Chinese food then.
I like General Tso's chicken. I like that spicy sweet.
It's too much sugar.
Spicy sweet meat. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll try to.
It's not very spicy, and it's way too sweet.
Depends on where you go. Some of them are not spicy. Some of them, it's like I might as well just kind of like the sesame chicken or the orange chicken. Even the orange chicken, there's places that use more heat, and so yeah, it was fine. I'm not a big like
try a hot one.
Yeah, a hot one would be good. So I've had a lot of food debates today. I was in a group text where there was a battle between Culver's and Freddy's fast food. And so there was a heated debate. A lot of heated food debates today. I'm Team Freddy's. I think Freddy's is just slightly better. They're both good.
Freddy's steak burger better than Culver's?
Yeah.
I like Freddy's. I can see that, yeah.
Again, I don't think either of them are bad. The whole reason that it started is I got my kids out of school and they wanted to get fast food. And I was like, oh, well, Culver's has those pretzels. Like, we can go there. And I was complaining in this group text, not about Culver's food. Culver's food is good. My complaint was their drive-through system kind of stinks because you go through the drive-through, you order a thing, and even if no one else is in line behind you, they're like, all right, here's your sticker, pull up.
Take the number.
And then you wait. And then by the time I waited for like 15 minutes, and then eventually cars started loading up behind me, and I was like, okay, we didn't get a burger, so it was not made a fresh burger. We got chicken tenders. We got one of those flurries, those concretes or whatever. So I'm like, all right, like that takes a minute. But I'm like, nothing should have really been like, ooh, hot to order. I'm like, this should have been a 5-minute order. And so that was my issue, is it's the opposite of Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A people will go like down the line of cars and be like, what's your order? What's your order? What's your order? So by the time you get to the window, boom, boom, bam, it's gone. Culver's does the opposite, where it's like, you get to the window and then you're going to have to pull up and wait there.
Yeah.
It's like if you go to like a
separate parking lot over there, that's for the people who want to drive through.
Yeah. It's the same style of like a drive-in movie theater where they're like, oh, come in here, drive up, order your food, then go park, and we'll get your food to you eventually. But at least you get a movie then. So that was my complaint. I'm like, I was like, oh, Culver's is overrated. And they really attacked me. I'm like, not the food. The food is great. I enjoy the food a lot, but Freddy's is better. And Freddy's weirdly has the almost exact same menu, like cheese curds, concrete, flurries and shakes and malts,
I like their
smash
shoestring
burgers.
fries.
Their fries are better because the crinkle
I
fries,
like
they
the
don't
fries.
crisp up enough at Culver's.
Yeah.
So
Not a big
So, yeah.
crinkle cut fry guy.
and Freddy's has their own fry sauce, which is good. And they have a jalapeno fry sauce, which isn't really that hot, but at least there's an effort. It's like a good hustle.
I feel like you prepared the speech tonight.
It's just because it was a fresh conversation that was like maybe an hour and a half ago conversation. And I did text a friend of both of ours who's a food aficionado, and I asked his opinion. I said, hey, real quick, Culver's or Freddy's? He went hard Culver's, and I'm like, I'm not going to tell him what my answer is then. I'm just going to leave it at this. That I was like, okay, cool. I'm like, I don't think it's that much of a difference.
That's funny.
So, anyway, what was your fact for the Nine Circles of
All right.
Hell?
So I saw Evil Deeds. Made me think of the AC/DC song "Dirty Deeds."
Fair.
You're familiar with that song, right?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest, my first idea of going for fun facts was something based off the word deeds. And I'm like, what can I do with deeds? And I'm like, well, deeds to a
Adam
house isn't very
Sandler.
exciting. And then, the Deeds Adam Sandler movie's based on, it's a remake of Mr. Deeds Goes to Washington.
You may have told me that before.
Yeah. And I've seen the black and white movie more than I've seen Mr. Deeds, the Adam Sandler movie.
Is it good? How is it compared to? And how's
Totally
it compared to it?
So it's
Is
the
it
same
a comedy.
Yeah, I mean, it's an old comedy, so like, are you gonna laugh? There's some funny scenes in my head where I'm like, oh yeah, that was a really funny part of that movie, but I'm not gonna say, oh, you're gonna be rolling on the floor laughing. Adam Sandler takes it and puts it through his Adam Sandler filter,
Yeah.
but it's a good movie. I mean, it's the same kind of premise. A guy fish out of water, gets a bunch of money inherited to him, and then he comes in, and then there's a reporter that's trying to like get the scoop. There's a love interest there, but there's like some good scenes in the original movie. I'm like, oh, I wonder how they're going to do that in the new one, and they don't really do it as well. But also, there's no iconic butler like what's his name
Emilio.
from yeah, that is a good part of the new one, and it's got a really killer soundtrack. Mr. Deed's soundtrack actually is surprisingly good.
I don't really care much for Adam Sandler, but The Waterboy and Mr. Deeds, I can watch those.
Those are good. But anyway, you went with AC/DC.
I did. So just looking up that song, the name for the song "Dirty Deeds," Angus Young actually found the name of that song from a cartoon in 1968.
Okay.
The cartoon's main villain, his name was Dishonest John, and he would carry around a business card, and the business card said, "Dirty Deeds, done dirt cheap, holidays, Sundays, and special rates." So, obviously, Dirty Deeds, done dirt cheap. Really cheap hit, man. Got a lady and you want her gone, you ain't got the guts. Just give me a call, I'll take care of her. The fact that you could throw that, and the cartoon was called Beanie and Cecil. The fact that you could put that in a kid's cartoon in the 60s. But it's funny. I mean, you look at Rocco's Modern Life, Ren and Stimpy.
Mm-hmm.
There's some things in there right now where as an adult, I'm like, oh, shoot. Like,
Yeah,
I can't believe that. Yeah, have you seen the... oh, gosh, this is terrible. This is no longer a family show. It's the Rocco's Modern Life, and they show up to that motel.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like the Lovers Motel,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden this banging is done, and all of a sudden he's like, "Hey, we just had a room open up."
Yeah, Rocco's Modern Life. I watched as a kid, and I did not pick up on any of that. I was oblivious.
He works at an adult call center.
Yeah, no, didn't even pick up on it.
Didn't pick up on it.
One of the main things I remember from that was Rocco, when he clipped his fingernails, he couldn't pick up a coin, and I was like, I relate to that. That was the thing I remember with him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd have to watch that now, and I feel like I would have it would give me nightmares, or my kids would be like, why is this why you're the way you are? Because of this in an early developmental stage. But that is funny. Yeah. Yeah, the stuff that I grew up on as a kid, I've shown you clips of movies and shows that I watch, and you're like, oh, that's nightmare fuel. I'm like, I watched it when I was 8, so maybe not the best for me to do.
No.
But no, good facts. I'm gonna get into the score here on Evil Deeds hot sauce. Again, this is one he gave us a spice blend that I haven't opened up yet that I need to open up and try. Because that was what started everything with him. He's had that spice blend. But this Evil Deeds, I liked it. The roasted nature. It is an everyday sauce. It's something you can use on breakfast burritos, tacos, nachos. Throw it on your whatever grilled meat you're going to do. It does have a nice balance of that roasted flavor, the garlic, a little bit of sweetness, but nothing overly sweet. I had this as a 2 on heat as well. It's definitely doesn't have me reacting, but it is a lingering heat for sure. Honestly, it reacts a little bit more, a little bit more diverse than the other heat from the Scotch Bonnet, which was just a 1 pepper forward heat, but still I put it as a 2, but I had this as an 83 out of 100.
I had 82, so almost the same as you, and then I had like a 2+3. For me, that was actually, it was hot a few minutes in.
Yeah. No, adding extra peppers or 2 different types of peppers, adding a mash and a fresh, I think that definitely had a good effect on it, and a good, it kind of takes you for a little more of a ride. And again, on our scale of 100, 75 and above is something we recommend. We would have in our kitchen. Above 50 is something we recommend to buy. 25 to 50 is one that's like, it's okay. And below 25 is not for us, but maybe for you. We have never scored one below 25 officially on the podcast. We did have someone finally reach out and ask who that would be if we had one. And I'm like, I'm not going to say the brand, but I'm like, this is just the style of sauce that we had, and it wasn't really that
style
great,
of sauce with garbage.
It was also a defining moment in the brand because we were just starting to talk about doing a podcast and like review sauce. Then we tried that one and we're like, oh no, like what have we done?
So we could never do that one on air.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'd love to. I've never seen the brand in person. I'd love to see the brand in person, try some other sauces. Maybe it was just like, hey, this has just been sitting on a shelf for too long. Maybe it's something that I should have shaken up. Maybe he's like, no, you got to use it in this fashion. I want to give him
it in my fridge.
The benefit of the doubt. That's crazy.
I don't want to get rid of it. It's like having like a kidney stone in a jar or something. You're just like, it's gross. I don't want it, but I'm not going to throw it away.
Maybe if we start doing like video podcasts with like a backdrop, maybe we'll hide it somewhere in the backdrop and be like, hey, it's in the video. It's kind of like in the TV show that I love that you've never heard of, Firefly. Every episode, there's one Han Solo and Carbonite figurine hidden somewhere in every episode.
Something tells me you found them all.
I don't know why you would be asking that question when you already know the answer, but yeah, I do. So it's always so a lot of times you see stuff like where it's like, hey, you like, you like Jurassic Park. Here's like 10 facts you didn't know about Jurassic Park. And you, I'm sure, have looked at that and gone, I know those facts. Like, I'm sure I know them. I've yet to find hey, 5 or 10 crazy facts about Firefly that you never knew. And I'm like, I did know those. Like I did know that some of the equipment that they used for the Alliance troopers are just Starship Troopers costumes that are just inverted or changed. Like I know all those things. So shout out to all the Firefly Browncoat fans. I'm in a couple of those groups, not as the brand, but as myself. So shout out to them. One's got to listen. So, but those were our sauces. The sauces we tried. So 9 Circles of Hell's Evil Deeds, Galactic Hobo's Lord of the Wings. Good way to get kind of back on track with episodes with some really solid buffalo and everyday sauces. And 2 probably of the most traditional types of sauce that, are always fun to enjoy. 1 for wings, 1 for everything. Couple special thanks. Summit 6 Design for any graphic or logo design needs. They designed our logo. Steve Seabury from the Tennessee Hot Sauce Expo. Special thank you to him. Just got to talk to him for a little bit. I've got some fun ideas. I told him I want to get to the Illinois show next year, and I got some ideas of some ways we can help cover that and do some fun things with the Hot Sauce Havoc when that season comes out. Special shout out to Derek from Miletta's for helping me with my NBA comparison for the start of this episode. Also, just thank you to him for, we interacted with him both at the show, and we got to hang out with them after the show a little bit at the Tennessee Expo, and that was fun. Also, David from Apocalypse, got to spend some time with him. He let me kind of test run a interview style at the show that I'll post that on YouTube and some clip of it on Instagram. Didn't get to do as much of that, but it's something I want to do at future events. So special thank you to him. And also he gave me a werewolf piss t-shirt for Apocalypse, which I can not wear in front of my kids, I guess, because they can read werewolf piss on the shirt. But I wore it out to the bars that night, and everyone was just like, oh, it's an awesome like Halloween shirt. And I'm like, oh, it's a hot sauce brand. And they're like, what? I'm like, never mind, you can't hear me. I should have had like cards, but like, no, after a while you just start lying and you're like, yeah, it's a rock band. They tour. Werewolf Piss is their new album. Like Apocalypse, look it up. And then they're going to look it up and be confused and say, why is this a hot sauce brand? But also special thank you to, Eddie Stankiewicz from Stanky Sauce. I got to talk to him for a little bit. He was dressed up as Jon Snow out at the bars. I didn't realize everyone was going to dress up in costumes. Like Derek and his crew were dressed up as Ninja Turtles at the show. And I was like, I would have done a costume if I knew that was a thing for the Tennessee show. But special thank you to him as well. I got to try a spoonful of their new sauce, but because I didn't go on Sunday, I didn't get to buy the sauce. I'm going to put an order in for that Dottle garlic sauce that they have. Very good. Mm-hmm. He gave me a recipe of something that they do that's going to have to be a video.
All the daddle pepper sauces I've ever tried I really liked.
Always been good. It's a pepper that I never heard of before we started doing this.
Yeah.
So, but thank you again for listening. However you listen, we do appreciate you. Follow us on Instagram at the Heat Source Podcast for all updates. Send us a message on there or email us at theheatsourcepod@gmail.com for any feedback, requests, or any other comments. And then tune in next week when we're going to be trying a new sauce. I'll have to figure out which one that is.
Sounds good. See you.
All right. See ya.
Character on The Office was Angela, you bum!
Hey, don't be distant,
Hey, Randall! I bet you leave trash in your friends' cars, you bum! What a dirtbag, am I right? Hey, Kevin! You look like you eat bananas with the peel on, you bum! He should be. Hey, Jonathan! I bet your mom never put your artwork on the fridge, you bum!
Oh,
It's probably bad artwork.